got it.
I do.
All right, sir, have a seat.
Good morning, Mr. Nafee.
Morning.
Can you hear me pretty good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We moved up a little closer because of our microphones, so let me ask you a few questions. Back in October of 2011, where did you live, sir?
I lived on 207 Harness Road.
Harness Road?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is that close to where the Swifts lived?
Yes, sir.
How close were you to where the Swifts lived?
Maybe a football field.
Were they your next neighbor on the same side of the street?
Yes, sir.
If you go out and stand on your porch and look to the front of your house, were they on the left or right of your...
If I was at my garage looking out towards the road, they was on the left.
Was Millstill Highway on your right?
Yes, sir.
And I guess if you lived there for a number of years back in October of 2011,
Yes, sir.
had the Swifts lived there for a period of time?
Yes, sir.
You had occasion to see them and communicate with them?
I communicated with David mostly. I never did know Miss Swift. I did see her jogging down the road, but I never talked to her.
Was there a Mr. Hawkshooter that lived around where you lived?
Yes, sir. He lived right across the street.
Now, do you remember when Karen Swift went missing?
Yes, sir.
Was that October the 30th of 2011 to your recollection?
Yes.
Were you at home that weekend?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember it because of the activity, or what makes you remember it?
The day, I think it was on a Sunday, because me and my wife went to church. And when we went out on Harness Road, I seen Miss Swift's vehicle over there. We turned toward her vehicle and went around it, because it's me and my wife and my kids. We was going to Glendale. And I did notice it had a flat, but I thought, somebody had done picked her up, she's at home. I mean, I didn't think nothing about it. So when we come back, the vehicle was still there. And later on that evening, David had come over and talked to me and asked me if he had seen his wife, and I said no.
If he had seen or you had seen?
Me. If I had seen his wife.
And later on, did you notice the sheriff's department around the vehicle or on the street?
I do not recollect that.
Okay. You remember that law enforcement came down there after that?
Yes.
Now the night, I guess you woke up on Sunday morning, you and your wife and kids went to church. Was that mid-morning, or can you give us a time when
we had to be there about 10 o'clock, so it was about 9:30.
Now that night, the night before, had you and your wife been home and spent the night at home?
Yes, I was there.
And did you hear any unusual sounds that night, like a flat tire going down the road, or a fight, or an argument, or anything like that?
No, sir.
Do you have dogs?
I do. Or I did.
Okay. And do you have dogs inside and outside?
Yes, sir.
Or you did back then?
Yes, sir.
And have you been in the house before when the dogs have barked, and is there somebody around or something going on?
Yes, sir.
I mean, your dogs, how does that work? Do they?
Most time, if my dogs outside was barking, I had two inside dogs, and one of them was a Cairn Terrier, and the other one was I believe a Feist, and they would bark because the outside dogs would be barking.
Did your dogs wake you up, or you hear your dogs barking that night?
No.
Into the early morning of Sunday?
No.
Now, before that, well, let me finish with, you saw David that Sunday.
I did.
He came to you're saying he came to your house?
Yes, sir.
And did you notice anything about his leg or how he was walking?
He had a knee brace on, and he had crutches.
And you and him had a conversation, and then did he leave?
Yes, sir.
Now, before that, had you had knowledge that David was going through a divorce?
Yes, sir.
And did you have a conversation, or he come to your house and talk to you about that before this?
He had come over. I want to say his wife went on vacation or with the kids, and he had come over and talked to me about they had left, and that she filed for divorce.
Did he ask you for some? Did you help him do something or give him some information?
My brother was a lawyer, and he asked me.
What was your brother's name?
Tim Nafy.
Okay.
And he asked me, would he take his case? And I said, I'm sure he would. Just we can call him and make sure. Or if I remember right, I think I did call him and ask him.
Ask who?
My brother, if he would talk to David, and he said yes. That they would set up a time and him come in and they'd talk about it.
And I guess right after that, you gave him your brother's number or arranged for them to talk. Did you have an occasion to be down at your brother's office and notice anything?
Yes, he come to my brother's office.
Who came?
Mr. Swift came to my brother's office, and when he come in, which he was on a crutch and had a knee brace on.
And were you just happened to be at your brother's law office?
Yes.
Now, after that, well, let me ask you about things that occurred before Miss Swift ended up missing. Was there an issue about problems with your dogs and the Swift dogs?
Yes.
Would you just tell us a little bit about that? Can y'all hear me?
Mr. Hogshooter lived across the road, and he had, I don't forgot what day it was, but he had mixed up some Ivermectin, some fly bait, and rat poison with some Karo syrup and powdered sugar, and put it in a bowl and put it outside. And my dog went over there, and my dog and Mr. Swift's dog went over there and ate that stuff, and it killed my dog. Mr. Swift, they took their dog to the vet, and it lived. But
to your knowledge, did Karen Swift have some involvement?
She's the one that found it in his house because she looked through the window.
You talking about Karen Swift?
Karen Swift looked through the window.
The window of whose?
Of hog shooters.
Well, objection can be sustained unless he has personal knowledge.
And I agree. We only want to talk about what you saw.
Okay.
Okay. Or what you, and I guess did you have an occasion to see Karen Swift go over there?
No.
Okay. And obviously you and your family were upset. Were you upset about the dogs?
Yes.
And did you ever personally go over to Mr. Hogshooter's property or observe anything?
Not that I can recall.
And your wife was involved too?
Well, let me rephrase that. I did go over there that night, and I did look through the window and seen the stuff on the counter, because I know what Ivermectin is. It's for swine.
I know, but let's make sure we just want to talk about what you did and what you saw.
Yeah, I went
Just to
over
be
there,
fair.
and I did see the stuff on the counter.
All right. Did you have any conversations with Mr. Hogshooter?
No.
Okay. And was law enforcement involved after that?
Yes, I called him.
Now, after after Karen Swift is missing that Sunday, you said that David came to your house. Were there other occasions when David Swift, after that, in the days following, came to your house with his family?
Yes.
And, give me a time frame and just kind of tell me about it?
It was after she went missing. And I think the TBI, or I don't know who it was, because I was not.
Let's don't say what you're guessing.
Okay,
Yes,
it was law enforcement that went in his house.
Did you see the cars down there?
Yes.
And
He would come over to my house because he didn't have anywhere else to go. This was about 7 o'clock at night.
when he came over, was anybody with him?
One time both his daughters were, and I believe his son was.
And when he came over, did he come over for a certain purpose?
Yeah, they had told him not to be there.
Objection.
So he just came to your house, and did he stay there for a period of time?
Yes,
All right. And did that happen more than once?
yes,
And I guess, did you just give him a place to wait until they were gone? Is that what you did?
yes, I did.
And I guess the times that Mr. Swift and his family came down there, it was just whenever that happened, the two times that you recall.
Yes.
Now, when you saw him in the days after Karen Swift went missing, did you notice anything about his leg or his walk?
He did have a brace on, and he was on crutches.
Now, after Karen Swift went missing, and in the days and weeks after that, were you the next house down from him going towards the Millsfield Highway?
Yes. My house and Hog Shooter's house is across the road.
But you're on the same side as the Swift house.
Yes, sir.
Did you smell any harsh chemicals coming from the Swift house?
No.
Did you see Mr. Swift carrying a bucket or carrying anything suspicious around?
No.
Were you there when Mr. Hog Shooter got arrested?
I don't recall when he got arrested.
Okay. Now, where did you work at the time?
I worked at Reelfoot Lake Ridge Utility Planning District in Sandburg.
Now, did you have an occasion to go down the Millsville Highway a certain way towards the Bledsoe Cemetery?
Yes. That's why I went back and forth to work.
Was that your normal work route?
Yes, sir.
And did you drive that every work day?
About every day. Twice a day.
Now, after Karen Swift went missing and before her body was found, do you know where the Bledsoe Cemetery is in the cross?
Yes.
Is it a place that you're familiar with seeing? Or did you
Yes.
drive by it?
Yes.
Did you see anything unusual that you thought was unusual after Karen Swift went missing before bodies found?
I did see Mr. Darrell Sells there on 2 occasions.
All right. When you say you saw him,
I would like to know if he knows Mr. Darrell Sells personally, or did someone tell him that was Darrell Sells?
we're going to
Fair
establish.
question. You go establish the foundation.
Now, did you see this person more than once?
I did.
Now, let's talk about the first time you saw him. You saw this person. Now, when you first saw this person, what did this person appear to be doing?
He was on the side of the road, walking up down the road. On the left side, like if I was going from the cross to my house, he was on the left side of the road, in the ditch, kind of.
Was he on the side where the cross was?
Yes.
Was he? Are you familiar with that cemetery and that where the cross is?
Yes. Well, I am familiar. I mean, I never have been in the cemetery, but I went by there every day.
No. Did you see this person near the area where the cross is?
Yes.
And when you first saw this person for the first time, did you know who this person was or recognize him?
No, sir.
What did you notice about the person?
He was an elderly person, and he had glasses, and he was just on the side of the road. I wondered why he was there.
And this was 11 years ago, though.
Yes.
Now, did something about it seem unusual to you?
Not at the time.
Now, did you get a look at the person on that first occasion?
I did.
Did you later see any, as you're driving back and forth to work, and other times, other days before Karen Swift's body was found, do you see anything out there unusual involving this
I
person?
did see him again with a metal detector in the same spot.
Now, were you by yourself this time?
No,
Who was with you?
my ex-wife.
And where were y'all going?
We was coming from church.
Okay. And was this person that you saw the first time, y'all hear me? This person you saw me the first time, were they in the same general area?
Yes.
And was it near the cross before you get into the cemetery? The cemetery,
Yes.
is the cemetery on back off the
It
road?
is.
Are you going towards Tiptonville or coming back?
I was coming from the cross to my house.
Okay.
And
so,
there's a road that goes to the cemetery on the left.
okay. Now, you're on your driver's side facing this, are you on your driver's side facing this person?
Yes,
And can you look over and see this person?
I did.
And on this occasion, was your wife with you?
She was.
And did you notice whether or not it was a different person or the same person?
It was the same person.
And was your wife with you?
She was.
Now, after that, did you and your wife talk then, right?
We did.
And you and your wife had a conversation about that person?
Yes.
And
I'm going to object at this point, but I think he's getting ready to get into hearsay. We're trying to backdoor that. And I only, we're asking that he justify what he knows, not what anyone else told him.
no, I'm going to set the foundation. I'm going to front door it. So let me just ask the question. You and your wife had a conversation. Don't say what she said. Did you and your wife have a conversation when you passed by this person?
When we went past him
Right.
the second time,
Don't say what she said. Let me just answer the question. I'm trying to obey the rules of evidence. So you and your wife, did y'all talk about this person after that?
yes,
And then did y'all continue your trip?
yes,
And after that, but not just talking to your wife, did you have an occasion did you remember when Karen Swift's body was found? Did you hear about it?
yes.
And I guess, what did you hear about where her body was found? Was it in a certain location?
Yes, it was at the cross behind, it was behind a log in the cutscene.
Right, but did you hear that it was at a certain cemetery or a certain field?
Yes,
And was that the same cemetery that you drove past?
yes.
All right. And what's the name of that cemetery? Is it Bledsoe?
Bledsoe.
Okay. And did you see media reports and news reports after that?
Yes.
And besides talking to your wife, which we don't want to get into right now, did you see something on the news that sparked your memory?
Yes, Darrell Sells was on the news. Down, I suppose he was down where they had found her because it was all over the
Let's
news.
This one said,
I'm going to object. I want to know how he knows that Darrell Sells on the news.
Okay. Now, did you see a person on TV?
Yes,
Did they have their name, or did you listen to the interview?
yes.
Did the person say their name, or was it underneath their picture?
I believe that he said he said he was Darrell Sells.
And did you listen to that on the news?
It's been 11 years ago. Yes, I did listen to it, but I don't remember what he said.
Right, but did you see something about seeing him on the news that sparked or made you remember?
I seen him there at the cross.
Right. Was that the same person you saw on the news?
Yes.
And did he, to your knowledge, did he say his name on the news?
Yes.
Besides those two occasions, did you, before Karen Swift's body was found, did you see anything else unusual at the cemetery?
I did see a woman there in the same spot with red hair.
Was that with the same times you saw this other person we talked about? Or
Yes.
was she with this person you just
No.
identified as Darrell Sells?
No, she was by herself.
Okay. And after you learned that they found Karen Swift's body near the Bledsoe Cemetery, is that what made you sort of think about this?
I thought it was kind of odd.
And you didn't see him grabbing a body or anything, did
No.
you? But
No.
you saw him in that general area?
I did.
Just 1 second, I'm almost finished. Just 1 second. Thank you, sir. The prosecutor may have some questions.
Morning, Mr. Nathan.
Morning.
Mr. Nathan, you testified that you didn't actually know Miss Swift, right?
Did not.
Okay. If you didn't know Miss Swift, why would David come ask you if you had seen her?
Well, I did see her run up down the road.
Okay.
But I mean, as far as ever talking to her, I didn't talk to her.
Okay. Did you ever see her out in public or anything like that
No.
very much? Okay. All right. So, did you not think it was odd that he was asking you if you'd seen her, since you're not somebody that ever really has contact with her?
I mean, I don't really think it was odd. I think he was trying to find his wife.
Okay. Now, you talked about your dogs barking. How many dogs did you have outside?
I had two.
Okay. And did they stay in the yard, or did they just roam the neighborhood?
They roamed the neighborhood.
Okay. So you don't actually know if your dogs are even outside at the time. If a car came down the road with a flat, you don't even know if your dogs are out there at that time to bark, do you?
Most of the time they stayed at the house.
But you don't know that they were, do you?
No.
Okay. So it's possible that a car could have come down the road with a flat tire, the dogs are not there, and never barked.
It's possible.
Okay. Now, you said that Mr. Swift came down to your house to talk to you when the divorce was filed. Is that right?
When she filed for divorce.
Yes, when she filed for divorce. And she was on a vacation at that time.
Supposedly. I mean, that's just
That's what he told you.
me.
Right. Okay. Was he on crutches when he came down there?
Yes.
Okay. And that would have been somewhere around October 10th.
I don't remember the time frame.
All right. It's been established in the record already that he picked up service on October 10th. Would that be about the right time?
Your Honor, he's asking for a conclusion.
I don't really
Just to
know.
be-
Your Honor, for the record, he's asking for a conclusion. You can ask him about the date and time frame or a reference, but he's asking for a conclusion based on something that this witness doesn't know about.
Objection overruled.
Okay. So would it surprise you that since he was at your house on October 10th on crutches, that he didn't actually get hurt until October 25th?
I don't know.
Okay. So he was at your house on crutches before he actually got injured?
Yeah, I knew he had a knee injury before.
Okay. Now, You said that you didn't see Mr. Swift carrying a bucket, is that right?
No.
Did you stay outside 24 hours a day watching his house?
No.
So it's possible he would have been carrying a bucket at a time you were not out there watching, right?
It's possible.
Okay. And then same thing with the chemical smell. You said you didn't smell anything chemical, anything that was a chemical odor coming from the house.
No.
Could there have been something coming from the house that smelled like that when you were not at home?
Anything's possible.
Okay. Now, you talked about this gentleman walking on the side of the road. Was he right on the edge of the road?
He wasn't really on the edge, he was kind of in the ditch a little bit.
Close to the road, though?
Yes.
Okay. And was he walking up and down the road?
He was, when I went past him, he was just right there in one spot.
Okay. Where was that spot?
It was before you turn into the cemetery road, back this side towards the cross.
Okay. Was he closer to the cross or closer to the road by the cemetery?
Close to the road by the cemetery.
Okay. Now, what about when he had a metal detector? Where was he at that time?
Same spot.
Okay. Same spot back by the road.
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever see him up? You know where the road goes up to the cemetery?
Mm-hmm.
When you get right to the road that turns into the cemetery, you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you look to your left, up by the bluff by the river, halfway between the cross and the cemetery,
Okay.
you have an idea of what I'm talking about? He wasn't up there in that area, was he?
No.
Okay. Wasn't anywhere near that, was he?
No.
And you said you saw a redhead. Was she in the cemetery or?
She was at the same place he was.
Okay, and she was by herself.
Yes.
Okay, so more than one person have visited that spot then, is that right?
Yes.
That's all, y'all.
No more questions of Mr. Nathan.
All right, if you step in, Mr. Nathan.
Angela Gibbs. Angela Gibbs.